I'm out the. Yo. I'm out the dough. Alien Coast, why's it the old? I see yo 3. What up, though? It's that nigga mine, man. And we about to look at some more ignorant shit, man. When online arguments go wrong. Like, ignorance is entertaining. So we about to see what this shit is about, man. See what's going on.
Number 9. Anthony Elonis. On December the 8th of 2010,
That motherfucker looked like George Zimmerman for a quick second.
Elonis was arrested in Northampton County, Pennsylvania, after posting threatening messages on Facebook directed towards his ex-wife, co-workers, police forces, and the FBI.
Damn.
Elonis refuted federal charges, claiming that he was an aspiring rap artist, and that the post had simply been an example of artistic expression. He also noted that many of the lyrics he'd used originated from comedy sketches, and that he'd merely altered them to fit his personality. One of the videos in question was the song I Want to Kill the President by the Whitest Kids You Know, in which the artists make fun of the thin line between freedom of speech and threatening behavior. Elonis told authorities he didn't intend on carrying out any of the threats he'd issued, but the court rejected his testimony. He was ultimately sentenced to 44 months in prison, plus 3 years of supervised release. Almost a decade later, then.
Damn, they locked his ass up. Like, nigga, what? You talking crazy? Then you trying to say you a rapper, nigga? Nah, fuck that shit. We ain't falling for that.
7-year-old Elonis was charged with cyberstalking. On July the 21st of 2021, he was accused of harassing the prosecutor from his original criminal trial, as well as his ex-wife and another former partner via Twitter and text messages. Elonis was found guilty of 3 counts of cyberstalking on August the 5th of 2022.
You stupid as fuck.
5-day trial.
You already got locked up for it, and you gonna do the shit again. Some motherfuckers, yeah, he needed to be in that motherfucker. So you just don't learn. You just don't learn.
Number 8. Jalen Harvey. Real estate agent Joseph Vindel was murdered on March the 7th of 2021 by 20-year-old Jalen Harvey during a robbery gone wrong in New Orleans, Louisiana. Vindel, aged 29, had posted an ad for a red Honda dirt bike on several online marketplaces and had eventually received an offer from Harvey for $2,800. The two men subsequently agreed to meet. Vindel's girlfriend grew concerned after he failed to return from the meeting and contacted the authorities, who tracked his phone's GPS. Police arrived at the location of the sale and noticed the dirt bike in the suspect's backyard. While questioning Harvey, he admitted to shooting Vindel but claimed to have acted in self-defense. According to his testimony, the deceased had been the one to initially pull out a gun, allegedly wanting to keep the dirt bike and the money. An autopsy conducted on the victim's remains determined that he'd suffered from injuries to his hands, which indicated he couldn't have been holding a weapon in the moments leading up to his death. Harvey eventually admitted to attempting to destroy evidence of the crime by dousing the victim's body with gasoline. He was found guilty of first-degree murder as well as obstruction of justice and monetary abuse, and was consequently sentenced to life in prison.
Dude, what the fuck wrong with
Number 7. James McKinney Jr. Jaquan Taylor.
And this wasn't no online argument. I don't know why they included that one. That wasn't no argument. That was obviously a transaction that was supposed to go down, but it was a setup to rob a nigga to take a bite. That's wild. Then you connecting with them online, dog. Y'all act like motherfuckers ain't got records of y'all conversation online. Stupid ass.
And Shamar Pope, a trio of young adults named James McKinney Jr., Jaquan Taylor, and Shamar Pope were arrested on October the 10th of 2018 in connection to a shooting that occurred in Beaufort County, South Carolina. The group had reportedly been arguing with cousins Desmond Gorham and Kyle Gaskins Jr. on social media before the two parties eventually agreed to meet in person. When the cousins, who were 18 and 20 respectively, arrived at the agreed-upon location, McKinney, Taylor, and Pope opened fire. Police were alerted by concerned neighbors.
Meet up with the motherfuckers, man. That's stupid as hell. You don't know what they got on them. And shit, they figured out. Damn, my bad. My damn life. Yeah, so yeah, that's fucking stupid. That's always been a stupid thing. Like you arguing with a motherfucker on Facebook, then y'all gonna meet up. You don't think this nigga gotta burn him? You stupid. Then if you're the person that's getting met up with, you don't know if they got a burner. So you probably gonna have a burner. They probably gonna have a burner. Then eventually it's gonna be a fucking shootout. So it's stupid.
Heard the altercation and ensuing gunfire. The three suspects had managed to flee by the time police made it to the address. Both victims were taken to the ER, where they were reportedly kept in stable condition. Pope turned himself in later that same night, while the two other suspects were arrested soon after, whereupon they were each charged with 2 counts of assault with intent to kill.
Young dummies. Y'all niggas wanna be YNs. Y'all wanna be listening to the YBs and shit. Talking about sliming niggas and all this shit. This the real other side of that shit, nigga. Your ass will go straight to fucking jail. And be looking stupid, just like each of these niggas.
Bonds were set at varying amounts between $30,000 and $50,000. Number 6, Tristan Green, Dawn Embry, and Brittany Farmer, all in their late teens or early 20s, were arrested at a parking lot in St. Augustine.
Yeah, the
Florida.
one on the left probably the obviously the early team.
On May the 16th
Late teen,
of 2017, the trio had reportedly attacked a fourth woman over a Facebook disagreement. An off-duty deputy noticed the 3 culprits running up to an SUV outside a Publix store and contacted 911. Several witnesses then saw the 3 young women striking the victim and pulling at her hair as she stepped out of her car. Embry and Green were reported as having been visibly intoxicated, which was later confirmed when they were unable to legibly sign their affidavits. The women initially claimed not to have been the ones who started the scuffle, explaining how it had begun as a
Okay, it was a scuffle, but why the fuck did they add gunshots to this shit? I'm looking like somebody got shot. I'm reading this shit. Yeah, the attack and all this, but yeah, nobody got a gun. I don't see no gun in there.
media dispute, which then continued in the parking lot when they were attacked by the unidentified woman and her friends. A video recorded by a passerby as well as the off-duty deputy's testimony contradicted this claim. All 3 women were charged with assault and battery, but only Green and Embry were detained. Farmer was allowed to leave on her own recognizance after being unable to find someone to look after her children. Number 5, Joshua Gorgone. On April the 5th of 2021, 54-year-old...
Damn. Stabbed? Showed her to buy a fridge on Facebook Marketplace? What? Oh yeah, this nigga out his
Williams
fucking
was fatally
Memphis.
stabbed after agreeing to meet Facebook Marketplace seller Joshua Gorgone in Geistown, Pennsylvania.
That motherfucker look insane. He looked like he did it. He definitely did it. He probably did it several other times too. This ain't his first.
Gorgone had listed a refrigerator for $160 on the social media marketplace.
Probably got a couple
and had
other-
reportedly received an offer from Williams. The latter's family reported her missing after she failed to arrive home after work on the day of her agreed upon meeting with the seller. Investigators were able to use her cell phone's GPS to triangulate her location. They found Williams's abandoned car with no signs of the woman herself.
Damn.
The family allowed detectives access to her social media accounts, which led to the discovery of her conversation with the would-be seller. Williams had intended to buy the fridge as a gift for her boyfriend. Upon arriving at the suspect's home, officers came upon the victim's body in the bathroom. Gorgone was arrested and immediately confessed, explaining how they'd begun arguing over the fridge's price and that he'd lost his temper, at which point he grabbed a knife and stabbed Williams multiple.
Fucking weirdo. That nigga ain't do that. He ain't just argue with her over no fucking fridge. He been killing motherfuckers. Cause they found her in the tub. Let me see.
Was arrested and immediately confessed on the victim's body in her boyfriend. Upon arriving at the suspect's home, officers came upon the victim's body in the bathroom. Gorgone was
in the
arrested
bathroom. Okay. Why she in the
and
bathroom?
immediately confessed
Why she in the bathroom? See, yeah, that shit don't make sense. Nigga.
how they'd begun arguing over the fridge's price and that he'd lost his temper, at which point he grabbed a knife and stabbed Williams multiple times. He was held in custody without bail while awaiting trial. An autopsy revealed several defensive wounds on Williams's body, indicating that she'd fought back against her assailant before ultimately succumbing to his attack. Number 4. Daphne Ann Crawford. On May the 24th of 2016, 29-year-old Daphne Ann Crawford and her 28-year-old husband, Alan, began making violent online threats following an incident at Mel's Diner in Fayetteville, Arkansas. It wasn't immediately made clear what the initial altercation centered around. However, when a customer made a Facebook post about the incident at the restaurant, Crawford replied, threatening to shoot them and their family. She also posted intimidating messages directed towards the establishment's employees, adding pictures of her husband holding an assault rifle and dressed in Middle Eastern attire, explaining they'd converted to Islam. Crawford was arrested and charged with making
This bitch racist and all that. We converted to Islam. You piece of shit.
in the first degree. Her husband was also taken into custody on unrelated charges following a joint investigation by Fayetteville Police and the FBI in connection to possession of illicit substances and firearms. Officers conducted a search of the Crawford household and discovered 3 AR-15 rifles, a 12-gauge shotgun,
Lock they ass
several
up.
handguns, and over 2,000 rounds of ammunition. Alan, also known by the name Omar Usman Khalid, was held without bond and considered a flight risk after authorities discovered he had close ties in Maryland, Oklahoma, and North Africa. Number 3. Andrew McDonald. Over the course of several weeks in November of 2009, Massachusetts resident Andrew McDonald engaged in several heated arguments over Facebook with an unidentified 24-year-old man. The two parties eventually agreed to parlay their dispute into an in-person meeting. When 19-year-old McDonald arrived at the scene,
Shot.
the two men began brawling. Before the police were called, McDonald
Oh, they
reportedly
actually fought. Okay, shit, hold on.
the victim's ear clean off as
Did
officers
a Mike Tyson on him. Bit the nigga ear off. The crazy.
subsequently took him into custody. He seemed unfazed, stating he wouldn't have gotten in so much trouble if he'd knocked the unidentified man out. Friends of the victim recovered ripped portions of his earlobe from the scene and brought them to South Shore Hospital, where he was being treated. It's unknown whether or not the doctors were able to reattach the appendage. McDonald was released on a $10,000 bail pending the continuation of the case. Today's topic was requested by Gordon, alias me, and River Parish. If you have any other topics you'd like to learn about, subscribe and let us know in the comments section below. Number 2. Robert Freese. 62-year-old Robert Freese, a resident of Exeter, New Hampshire, was arrested on May the 23rd of 2018 after making defamatory posts about local police chief Bill Shoop. Freese was charged with criminal defamation of character, a class B.
I don't know. I don't think he should have been arrested for that. I don't know. Did he say shoot
after
them
accusing
niggas?
Shoop of covering up another officer's misconduct without
Damn, that's some dirty shit. That's dirty.
in evidence. The charges were dropped after the American Civil Liberties Union got involved, labeling the arrest as an attempt
Facts.
to silence criticism of authority.
Facts.
Freese
Facts. That's what the fuck that was. Like, that's some bullshit.
filed a wrongful arrest lawsuit later that year, and on February the 8th of 2021 was awarded a settlement of $17,500.
See, he won. He won. He won in his shit. He got 17,000. Oh, y'all want to arrest motherfucker for saying whatever, saying having freedom of speech?
Number 1. Marcelino's
That shit probably could have. That ain't even go when online arguments go wrong. That's the one that went right there. But ain't no telling how much he had to pay for lawyers. Ain't no telling.
Lopez. Minnesota resident Marcelino Santiago Lopez murdered Brandon Jose Neves on April the 2nd of 2020 following an online dispute over a woman with whom they were both romantically involved. 19-year-old Lopez had threatened to kill Neves several times in the weeks prior to the attack and had eventually challenged his love rival to a fight. The young man met with 20-year-old Neves, who was accompanied by an unidentified teenager. During the ensuing altercation, Lopez reportedly shot both of them before fleeing the scene.
Damn.
Emergency services rushed to the South St. Paul address after concerned neighbors called 911. Neves, who'd been shot in the head, was pronounced dead, but his underage companion managed to make a full recovery after being brought to the hospital. Later that night, Lopez reached out to the authorities himself and willingly confessed to committing the shooting, but alleged that he'd been acting in self-defense. According to his testimony, it felt threatened after a group of men had surrounded him and began shooting to scare them off. Nevertheless, he was arrested and indicted on first-degree murder charges, as well as counts of attempted murder and assault. 1 year later, Lopez was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Nigga, you went there to kill, nigga.
Dummy. Over some pussy too at that. Dummy. Now you spending your life in there where no pussy is at. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, man. So, with that being done, that's the end of this ignorant shit. So, like and subscribe so we can hit that 100K today. Stay peaceful, productive, and positive. It's that nigga Mime, and much love.
I'm out the, I'm out the door. Alien coast, wise of the old. I see your 3 eyes is closed. Consistency, your conditioning, I suppose. Children mimicking imagery they've been exposed to. Frequencies given from symphonies on radio too. Vibrating energy subconsciously, but you consciously do.